Well, hello and welcome to Sheffield for highlights of the fifth round of the British Cycling Open Circuit Race Series. And a slightly delayed start after a crash in the women's race meant we'd only have 25 minutes plus 5 laps today. 1.4 kilometres of slightly undulating roads with some tight and narrow turns thrown in for good measure. Last year was won by St Piran's Finn Crockett. Now he's not here today, so all eyes will likely be on series leader Robert Scott riding for Tekkers CC and second place overall Matt Bostock riding for Ribble Rebellion. So, a dramatic day of racing we were likely to have in Sheffield, and straight away the attacks came thick and fast. As you can see on the left-hand side of the road now, it's Cabtech Castelli in the yellow and the black as Toby Barnes for Spectra Racing gets straight on the wheel. Toby Barnes again separated only by 12 points from wheelbase Cabtech Castelli's Tom Armstrong in the series overall as St Piran come and control the pace at the front. Bostock led up the home straight as again wheelbase kicked off the front with Thomas Armstrong around the left-hand side of Bostock. St Piran reacting straight away on the right to come up to second wheel. Armstrong would continue to keep the pace high into the next lap when the first big move of the day to gain a bit of traction came from series leader Rob Scott, sending the new green and blue Tekkers CC kit off the front, and it was St Piran's William Roberts again who would respond immediately to the move. Scott powering on ahead, it took a monumental effort from the St Piran rider to bridge the gap, with Thomas Armstrong and Sabgal Annie Colours Oliver Rees leading the bunch chase behind. Coming into the home straight, and Roberts finally made contact with Scott, and the two had a modest advantage of a few seconds over the bunch. In between the two groups, it was Matt Bostock trying to close the gap, very aware that Robert Scott has the power to go away and not come back, just as he did a couple of weeks ago to win round 3 in Guildford. As the bunch behind now really strung out, it's a much shorter race today. Remember, we had the crash in the women's race earlier, so only 25 minutes plus 5 laps. Matt Bostock then finally makes the gap with the two riders out front, and this time it's Alec Briggs for Tekkers with the red helmet who comes on the outside of his teammate Robert Scott at the front. Briggs setting himself up for his first big attack of the day, and straight to the right-hand side of the road he goes, and again it would be Ribble Rebellion's Matt Bostock who'd react, putting in another huge effort to bring back yet another Tekkers rider. Wheelbase Cabtech Castelli on his wheel, but now with a counter-attack to the left-hand side of the road, it would be Toby Barnes of Spectra Racing who'd make his bid for freedom. Briggs, Bostock, Armstrong, Truelove and Scott all up there, but nobody willing to commit to a response to the move from Toby Barnes as one of the most attacking riders in the series so far. Second in Guildford and fourth in the series so far, rides away up the road as his gap just extends and extends, and coming to the end of 25 minutes of racing, it's an 11-second gap he has on the bunch behind. Still up at the front of the bunch though, are Matt Dobbins of XB Continental, Harry Tanfield, Rhys Britton and William Roberts of St Piran, Truelove for 3 for SRCT, Armstrong and Laborde for Wheelbase, and Robert Scott for Tekkers and Matt Bostock of Ribble Rebellion there as well. But it's Toby Barnes who's increasing his gap at the front of the race with each pedal stroke. He was fourth in Ilkley after attacking from the breakaway of 5 on the downhill into the town centre. Second in Guildford after soloing away from the bunch but still behind Robert Scott who was out front. Fifth in Dudley and looking to make it first today in Sheffield as we're into the last few laps of the race today. The pace in the bunch letting up ever so slightly as no one really willing to commit to a concerted chase effort, and Barnes then happy to solo away off the front. He knows he can hold off the bunch as he did in Guildford when nobody could hold his wheel as he sat between the bunch and Robert Scott for the last quarter of the race. No Robert Scott in front of him today though, and coming up the home straight for the final time, it was going to be a huge victory for Toby Barnes. After riding so forcefully in the previous rounds, the top step of the podium finally his. It was a monumental effort and a huge counter-attack timed to absolute perfection after Bostock had closed down yet another gap on the front. The sprint unfolded and it would be Ribble Rebellion's Matt Bostock who'd take second place just ahead of Thomas Armstrong of Wheelbase Cabtech Castelli who took third. Jacob Scott of Team Sauerland grabbed fourth, William Truelove of 3 for SRCT rounded out the top 5, and Robert Scott, the current leader of the series, coming in next in 6th place for Tekkers CC. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this highlights video. Please do feel free to like and subscribe to Monument Cycling for all the latest in the British cycling scene. We hope to catch you at the next one. Happy riding, and we'll see you soon.